Hello friends, my name is Jess and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. Today I have a very exciting reading vlog for you. Two of my most anticipated releases for the entire year came out in November. Wanted to do a reading vlog, reading them, sharing them with you guys. So that is what we're doing in this vlog. Both of these books I'm reading in this vlog are sequels, and I actually read the first book in both of these series in my reading vlog where I read queer SFF books. So if you haven't seen that video, you can check that out to hear my thoughts on the first books in this series. But if you don't want to watch that whole video, I loved both of those books. So in this vlog, we're going to be reading the follow-up to A Marvelous Light, which is A Restless Truth. These books are both by Freya Marksey. In this book, we are following Maud, who is the sister of Robin from the first book, and Maud is going on an adventure. She's traveling as a lady's companion on the ship from America back to England. She has kind of been wrapped up in this whole magic conspiracy. There are these people that are trying to collect these objects that will help them control all of the magic in England. And Maud and her brother Robin and Edwin from the first book, they're all trying to take down this conspiracy before this power can get into the wrong hands. So Maud herself is not magical, but she loves her brother so much and wants to help in any way she can. And she's kind of tired of being stifled by him, so she jumps at the chance for this adventure. And along the way, she gets a lot more than she bargained for. Her traveling companion ends up murdered, so she's thrown into this whole murder mystery along with the conspiracy of the people trying to steal the magic. She also meets Violet along the way, whom she has a bit of a romance with. That is what this one is about. I'm super excited to dive into it. Like lesbian pirate heist vibes. Sounds amazing. So excited. And then the next book we're going to jump into is Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. This is a companion novel to Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, one of my favorite books of 2022. I loved it so much, so I'm so excited to jump into this sequel. And this sequel is set in the same world, but it follows different characters, and I'm not even sure that Kian and Janen make any kind of appearance in this book. I think it's just generally set in the same world. In this book, we're following Tennel and Surrit. Tennel is the rebellious nephew of the legislator of this galactic country, and she is tired and sick of him running amok, so she decides to illegally conscript him into the army. Tennel also has powers where he is kind of like a mind reader. In this society, mind readers are very looked down upon. It's illegal to read people's mind just because of the secrets and the threats that it could expose. In order to further control Tennel, his aunt finds somebody to sync him. Architects and readers can be synced. Architects are people that have powers that can control other people. Like they can put commands into other people's heads, and those commands are followed out depending on how strong the architect is. In comes Surrit, the architect, who is supposed to sync with Tennel. But Surrit has a very strong moral compass, and so when he learns that Tennel has not consented to any of this, he's like, yo, let's fake this until we can figure out how to get you out of here. And so that's what they do. So it's like soul bond fake dating, which is incredible. So I'm so excited to read this, and I cannot freaking wait. It's gonna be great. All right, so those are the two books I'm going to be reading in this reading vlog. I will give you updates at 10%, 50%, and 100% with both of these books. And the first one we're gonna dive into is A Restless Truth. All right, I started A Restless Truth. I'm about 50 pages into it, like 10%, I guess. I just wanted to give you my initial thoughts. So I'm really liking it so far. No surprise there. This book is following Maud, who is Robin's sister from the first book. Maud is setting sail on the ship from New York back to England, and she's like the attendant, the companion of Elizabeth Navenby, who we also met in the first book. She's one of the holders of one of the pieces of the last contract, and she is journeying to England to help kind of figure out what's going on, why Flora, another holder of a piece of the last contract, has been murdered. Problem is, right when they get on the ship, Miss Elizabeth is murdered. Possibly a piece of the last contract is stolen. Problem is, Maud doesn't know what form the piece of the last contract was in, so she doesn't know if it's been stolen or not. And she also doesn't know who the heck murdered Elizabeth. So she has to figure out what the heck is going on. Lucky for her, she meets a woman named Violet who is willing to help her investigate this murder and figure out what the heck is going on. Violet is very different from Maud. She is a very colorful character, I guess you would say, and Maud is very much intimidated by her, but also so fascinated by her. And I think their dynamic is going to be super interesting. I really like both of them so far, and I'm excited to get into the mystery. That's basically all that's happened in the book so far, and I won't really probably talk about it much more in the next clips, like the plot and stuff, just so I don't spoil you, but that's basically what this book is about. And I think the whole thing is going to be set on this ship. Oh, and obviously Maud and Violet are going to fall in love. This book, we have be gay, do crime, also pirate vibes, which I'm here for, and I think it's going to be so much fun. I really just love Freya Marksey Key's writing style. I just think it's so pretty and so like enthralling, I guess. I'm just so drawn into the story and I just cannot wait to see what happens next. I will probably check in next when I am like 50% of the way through. Hello, I'm here with an update. So I am now 50% of the way through A Restless Truth by Freya Marksy. I'm really enjoying it. At first, I wasn't sure if I was enjoying it quite as much as A Marvelous Light, but now that I'm like thinking back on it, I think A Marvelous Light started out pretty slow as well. And this one definitely has a slow build also. I feel like this is really turning into like a closed door mystery. This entire book is set on this ship. Obviously, the lady she's traveling with, Elizabeth, is murdered in the very first chapter, so they're trying to figure out who did that. And at the 50% mark, the plot is really starting to pick up. Maud has convinced a number of people on board the ship to kind of join in her little conspiracy to try and figure out what's going on. Some crazy things are starting to happen. They're starting to get closer to who it might be, starting to get more fast-paced and fun. Also, the romance between Maud and Violet is starting to pick up. There was the first spicy scene right before the midway point, which I think is less of a slow burn than the first book. I'm pretty sure Edwin and Robin didn't get together until like 60%, so I enjoyed that spicy scene. It was very, very good. At first, I wasn't really feeling the chemistry between Maud and Violet, but now I'm starting to. So I'm appreciating that, and I'm excited to see where the romance goes, and I'm excited to kind of fall more in love with their chemistry. This book also includes Hawthorne, who we met in the first book. He was like Edwin's past lover, which is interesting. I kind of wonder if maybe he's going to be the main character of the third book. He has such an interesting story that honestly I would love him to be the main character of the third book and get his own like romance or whatever. So I'm having so much fun. This is like a delightfully queer historical fantasy, and I'm loving it. It's too soon to say if I'm loving it more than the first. I think my initial instinct would still be that I like the first more at this point, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I definitely am enjoying this, so I can't wait to finish it up and I'll update you with my final thoughts. Hello, I'm in Pittsburgh. Today during my flights, I managed to finish A Restless Truth. I liked it. I definitely don't think I liked this one as much as I liked the first one. There was just something off about it for me. I didn't get the same like, oh my gosh, giddy feelings reading this one as I did the first one. And I think the major reason that I didn't have those feelings lies within the romance. In the first book, like Robin and Edwin, it's such like a soulmate together forever type of romance, whereas that's not the vibe of this romance. Maud is very young. She's only 19. So it's kind of a like, I like you, you like me, let's see where things go kind of romance, which I don't love as much. You know, it doesn't make my heart flutter. It doesn't make me squeal. Like I liked Maud and Violet together, but I just didn't feel the same like sparks between them as I did between Robin and Edwin from the first book. And that makes me sad because that's why I'm here. I'm here for the romance. I want to like root for these characters with all of my heart, and I just didn't have that same feeling with this book. Honestly though, that is my only complaint with this book. It is a little bit slow plot-wise. The first one was a little bit slow plot-wise though. I'm willing to overlook that. I don't mind a slow-paced book. My only gripe was just the romance. Like, I really like Freya's writing style. I think it's very beautiful. I like the way she strings words together. There are so many lines that I underlined because I just really liked them. I feel like there's a lot of like poignant truth about like people and life and relationships in this book, which I appreciate. I always like reading that kind of stuff. I also just really love the world that she has created and the overarching plot that's going to connect this series. The like murder mystery element in this is fun, and the fantasy world is like lush and rich, and I love learning about the magic, and we get like new insights into the magic system with every book. So I really liked this one, but it's just not a new favorite, and it's not, in my opinion, to the same caliber as the first one was. I think that I'm probably gonna settle on like a solid 4-star rating for this one. Like I said, I really loved it, and even though I wanted a little bit more from the relationship between Maud and Violet, like I did really like them together. Their scenes together are really good. I liked the steam. It was nice. I just wanted more soulmate gooey crap because that's what I like in my romance. I like my fluff. So I missed that a little bit, but yeah, that's basically my final thoughts on this book. I think it was definitely a solid sequel, and I'm looking forward to the last book. Like I said, my prediction is going to be about Hawthorne, so we will see. We will see. And while I have you here, I also started Ocean's Echo on the plane on my last flight. I just deadheaded here from Dulles, so that means I just like sat as a passenger. I didn't have to work. And let me tell you, this book has hooked me. I just wanted to keep reading so bad, but I wanted to give you like my initial reactions. So I'm 50 pages in right now. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. Like, is this one, am I gonna like this one better than the first one? Is this gonna be like a different scenario, like the opposite scenario of A Restless Truth? Because I freaking love this book already. So basically we're following our main character Tennel, and Tennel is just like a rebellious kid. He ran away from home. His mother is dead. He is kind of under the control of his aunt, who is the legislator of this community. This book is set in space, obviously. I'm not doing a very good job explaining this. Let's start over again. So Ocean's Echo is a sci-fi space opera romance. That's the gist of it. And when it starts out, we're following our main character Tennel. Tennel is a very rebellious guy. He has run away from his guardian, who is his aunt. His aunt is also the legislator of this, like, I don't know, space country that they live in. And Tennel has just been rebelling against her. She's sick and tired of it, so she conscripts him into the military. This is illegal. We also learn that Tennel has powers. He is called a reader, which means he can like read people's emotions. He can read surface level thoughts, and he can also like dive deep into people's minds, which is also an illegal power. Like, you can't really use reader powers, they're illegal. And Tennel really doesn't use them other than like surface level easy things that people don't notice. But readers are kind of seen as threats in this society because of the information that they can access. Since Tennel is so rebellious and so out of control, his aunt conscripts him illegally into the army, like I said. Part of this deal is that he has to be synced with an architect. Architects are kind of the opposite of readers. They can influence people to do things. Like, they can get into their mind, like command them to do things. This sync is also illegal, especially because they're doing it without Tennel's consent. So, and we have just in the last chapter met Surratt, who is going to be the guy that Tennel is going to be synced with. They haven't met yet or anything. Surratt has just been kind of like told about the job, and I can kind of see that he has reservations about it. So I'm pretty sure in the description it says that Surratt is going to like refuse on principle to do it because Tennel's not consenting, and that they're gonna like kind of team up and help Tennel out. So I'm excited to see where it's going. I already love both of our characters. Tennel in particular is like one of my favorite type of characters. He's like the damaged, rebellious bad boy who just needs someone desperately to care about him. And that person is me. I'm going to care about you, Tennel. Don't you worry. I'm 50 pages into it. I'm absolutely loving it. I really just want to devour it tonight. I have other things to do though, so I definitely am going to try and get halfway through it tomorrow though, so we will see. I will be back with an update, but having good feelings about this. It already feels like a 5-star to me. I'm halfway through this book and it's so fucking good. I've been screaming on like every single page. I'm so obsessed with this book. It's so good. It's literally so good. It is everything I wanted and more. First and foremost, I'm so obsessed with Tennel. I know I said that in the first clip, but he is just so funny and he's just like so sassy. He's like the most hot mess character out there. He's a disaster, but he's just hiding like the sweetest exterior. I don't know, him and Surratt just play off each other so well because Tennel is just like so outgoing, so in your face, so all over the place, and Surratt is like so reserved and careful with what he says and like very caring. Tennel is very caring in his own way too, but I don't know, just like seeing their dynamic, seeing them play off each other and like balance each other out is so sweet. And Tennel is just the kind of character that loves to cause chaos. Like, he just thrives in chaos, and I think it is so funny. Like, he has all of these scenes where he just like says these underhanded comments and like these random things to like pit people against each other and get people to like fight around him. And it's just so funny because no one, like, he does it subtly and like no one notices what he's doing except for Surratt. Surratt always knows what he's up to, and then everyone around him just starts fighting and it dissolves into chaos, and Tennel is like, this is what I want. If you're gonna make me be in the army, I'm gonna fuck it up. Which is just, I don't know, it's so funny. And then Surratt and Tennel, we are starting to get that they're like attracted to each other. Tennel like shoots his shot and Surratt shoots him down, which is so sad. And I feel like we're way more in Tennel's head than we are in Surratt, so I'm not really like quite sure what's going on. I think that Surratt is very like reserved morally about hooking up with Tennel since he's like technically his commander, or at least he was in the beginning of this book. There's like a bit of a twist. There's a bit of a shift in power dynamics that's happening right now where we are in the middle. Technically, everyone's still like held captive in a situation they don't want to be in, but I'm interested to see where it's going to go from here. I think it's about to get like a more actiony. Anytime Surratt and Tennille interact, I am just screaming. I'm just shouting internally. Which is my favorite thing in a book. Like, that's why I love these books so much. Like, I will survive like off of a hand touch here and a glance here and a conversation here. I don't need a lot. I just need to feel the tension and the angst and the attraction and the will they won't they. That's what I thrive on. That's what I live for. So I'm living for this book. Obsessed. Obsessed, so obsessed, and I can't wait to see where it goes. And whenever anybody recommends this and they're like, oh, well, it wasn't very heavy on the romance, like, I think it is. Like, that's what this book is. It is about Tennille's and Surratt's interactions. Like, yes, there's a bunch of space politics going on. It's a fun backdrop. But I feel like the meat of this book and like where it shines is in the interactions and the relationship building between Tennille and Surratt. To me, it's such a strong romance. Hopefully that's where it's building to. Just like Winter's Orbit. Like, I feel like people say the same thing about it, is it's not like a romance heavy enough. And like, yeah, it's not a Kindle Unlimited romance. They're not banging every other page, which, don't get me wrong, I like that too every once in a while, but I just feel like this is the kind of shit I live for. I love the relationship building and the tension before things happen. I need the pining. I need the, like, just random interactions. I don't know. I feel like you understand what I'm saying. I'm just being long-winded, but I don't know. I live for this shit. I am so excited to see where it goes. And I feel like there's something in the description that says the mental bond does actually eventually take, or they decide that they have to do it in order to escape or whatever. So I can't wait for that to happen. So I'm so excited for that. This is going well. This feels like a 5-star book for me. I will be shocked, I think, at the end if it doesn't turn out to be a 5-star book. So I'm so excited. So excited. I will let you know my final thoughts once I finish. And this reading vlog is coming to a close because I have finished Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell, and I loved it. I loved this book so much. The writing is immaculate. The world building is so fun. I love being in this galactic sci-fi world. It's so cool. I don't know, I don't consider myself a huge sci-fi reader, but there's just something about this world and these characters that just draws me in, and I'm just enthralled the entire time. It definitely helps that I cared about Tennille and Surratt so much. I was so obsessed with them. They balanced each other out so well. And really, that's the perfect segue into my main complaint with this book, is that there was not enough romance. I know I went on this whole spiel about how I don't need much, but I do need a little bit more than what was in here. Like, I feel like Winter's Orbit definitely wasn't super romance heavy, but it had enough. Like, it had those lingering looks, it had the pining, it had the angst between the characters. There wasn't as much of that in this book. There was even less in this book. And so that made me a little sad. Even when they like finally had their first kiss and finally kind of started to admit their attraction to one another, it really didn't become anything, which I was sad about. I just wanted some more romantic interactions between the two. This definitely was a lot more like plot heavy, plot focused than the first book, where I feel like the first book was like a good even balance between plot and romance. This one was definitely mostly plot and like character focused. So I was a little sad about that. I also really do think that I hyped up the sync bond too much in my head. I really thought we were going to get a soul bond kind of trope where they could read each other's thoughts, know each other's feelings. I love the angst that comes along with that kind of a thing, but syncing really was a bad thing throughout this entire book, which I didn't really want. I wanted it to be a soul bond thing, but that's okay. I just had the wrong expectations about that going in, which is my fault. All that being said, I loved this book, but I had some problems with it, and I can't help comparing it to Winter's Orbit, which I just think is superior, unfortunately. So I'm gonna end up giving this book a 4.5 star. Really loved it. I just didn't love it quite enough to give a 5 star, mostly because I didn't love it as much as Winter's Orbit. But yes, that is my new release reading vlog. We read A Restless Truth and Ocean's Echo. I loved both of them, but they both unfortunately did not live up to my love for the first book in either series, which is sad, but I had such a fun time reading both of these. I think these are definitely both worth the read. Like, don't let my like few complaints put you off reading these. These are both, this one was like a solid 4.25 star read. This one is a solid 4.5. Maybe you could argue me to 5 star read. So these were both excellent, excellent, excellent books. I can't help comparing them to the first, and I just found them both lacking slightly. But yeah, definitely check out both of these series, both of these authors if you're interested in this kind of a thing. They were both excellent. And yeah, I had a lot of fun in this reading vlog. I hope you had fun watching it. If you did, leave me a Christmas tree emoji for bookmas. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check the links down below for a link to both of these books, as well as links to my social media. I am most active on Instagram and Goodreads other than YouTube if you would like to follow me on those platforms. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love if you would stick around and subscribe. I am posting a video every single day in December for Bookmas. Hold me to that. So there's lots more where this came from. I read so many queer books on this channel. That is what I'm all about. So if you like that kind of thing, definitely subscribe. Also like this video if you liked it. And I believe that is all for me today. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and happy Bookmas. Bye.